Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayath. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter number 22, verse number 24 or 25, whichever. So we've been reading this dynasty of Kuru, and we have studied how this Shantanu married Satyavati, then Bhishma was born, then he married Ganga first, then Bhishma was born, then Satyavati, from that Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. Chitrangada died in the war or battle or fight with another guy called Chitrangada. Don't fight with the person who has the same name, can be in trouble, because you don't know who is who, right? Yamaraj gets confused which one has to go, this one or that one. Remember when Bali and Sugriva were fighting, Lord Ramchandra said, I will kill Bali, because Bali was always traveling. They were brothers and they looked similar, like twins. So he says, you go and fight. When you are fighting, I'll shoot an arrow and kill Bali. So Sugriva went. Bali was very powerful. So Bali is the one who kept Ravan in his armpit for 6 months. He was so powerful. So Bali went he challenged Sugriva, and Bali said, you have come again? You don't know me? Because it is said that Bali has the boon that anyone who comes to fight with him, he takes away half of his power. So his own power plus half of the enemy, he is always powerful. So then Sugriva went and they started fighting, and Bali made complete chutney out of Sugriva. And poor Sugriva was hoping that when is Ram going to shoot? He never shot any arrow. So he came back, all his bones aching. And he complained to Rama that why you didn't do anything. You said you will do something, and here, look, I'm completely bruised and beaten up. So he said, the problem is that you both look same. And I was worried that I may shoot you. So now you go again, and he gave him one garland so that I know who is Bali. So Chitrangada, they fought, and he died. Shantanu Chitrangada. So then we read the story how Bhishma went and he got these 3 daughters. Then Ambalika got married. Then he also died because of the sickness. I think that's where we left. So Kshetra aprajasya vai bhratur matrokto badarayana dhritarashtram cha pandum cha viduram chapi ajijanat. So then Satyavati, she called for Vyasa, and he impregnated this Ambika and Ambalika, and that's how Dhritarashtra, Pandu were born, and Vidura. And Gandharyam Dhritarashtrasya Jagge Putra Shatam Nripa Tatra Duryodhano Jeshto Dushala Chapi Kanyaka. From Gandhari, Dhritarashtra produced 100 sons. Duryodhana was the chief one, and Dushala was the daughter. So she was blessed to have 100 sons by Vyasa. Once Vyasa came to Hastinapur, and Gandhari did service, took care of him. So when she paid pranam, then he blessed her that you have 100 sons. But then Kunti gave birth to Yudhishthira, and she still did not have any sons. So she aborted, and only this flash came. So then Vyasa appeared there. He says, why did you do that? Don't you know that I blessed you that you will have 100 sons? He says, what 100? I'm not having even one. It's already 2 months. She was pregnant for 2 months. He says, how long will I hold it? So he says, anyway, you will make 100 out of this. So he said, you keep it, this will get divided into 100 and then put them in pots full of ghee, and then babies will come out. So then this piece got divided into 100 and one spare part remained, that became the daughter, Dasala. That was the remnant. So this is how he had 100 sons. And Shapan Maithuna Ruddhasya Pandava Kuntya Maharatha Jata Dharma Nilendrebhyo Yudhishthira Mukhastrayah. So then Pandu, he was married to Kunti and Madri, but then he was cursed by this sage in the forest that if he tries to produce children in his queens, he will die. So then he gave up kingdom and went to forest, and he lived there. And then Kunti had this boon from Durvasa Rishi, because once Durvasa, when Kunti was still unmarried in the house of his father, then Durvasa came and she served him. So he gave her a boon that she could invite any of the devas by the mantra. So then when Durvasa left, she was curious, and then she invited Surya, sun god. Then he came immediately, and now he said, now you will have a child from me. And she said, but I am not married, and what people will think. He says, well, I have come. So it is well known that the darshan of devas never goes in vain. If you see them, then you always benefit. So then he says, don't worry, the child will be born immediately and you will not lose your virginity. So that's how Karna was born. But then Kunti put the Karna in river. So the Karna is the son of Kunti. Before she was married, a son who is born before the marriage is called Kanina. So he is the Kanina. Kanina means born from Kanya. Kanya means unmarried girl. So then these three sons were born to Kunti: Yudhishthira, Bhima and Arjuna. Yudhishthira was born from Dharma, because she said, you get one son who will be very dharmic. That is most important. So Yudhishthira was born. Then he said, you get one more son who should be powerful. Then Bhima was born from Vayu. And then came Arjuna from Indra. So these are the three sons. Then Pandu asked, have more sons? And she refused. He says, no, 3 is enough. And then he said that you should also give some to Madri, because she will be without child otherwise, because Pandu could not produce, otherwise he will die. So that is described. Nakula Sahadevascha Madryam Nasatya Dasrayahu. So from Ashwani Kumaras, Nasatya Dasra is Ashwani Kumar. They were born Nakula and Sahadeva. And Draupadyam Panchabhya Putraste Pitro Bhavan. And then Draupadi was married to all 5 of them, which is also very unusual, because when Duryodhana made this plan to kill them in Varnavath city, by putting fire to the house, which was specifically made with the inflammable material. So that time they escaped because Vidura has already made arrangement. He had made a tunnel. And when they were leaving, because Dhritarashtra called these Pandavas, they were young at that time, unmarried. He says, oh, there is a festival, you should go and enjoy this festival. And I've built a special place for you to stay, like a picnic holiday. So when they were leaving, then Vidura, he told Yudhishthira. So in Mahabharata it is said that he spoke not in Sanskrit or regular language, but some Lech Bhasha. So Vidura knew many languages. And Yudhishthira must have also known. So they escaped from the house. And then they were hiding because they knew that if Duryodhana comes to know that we are still alive, then he will send army and kill us, because now everybody knows that we are burnt. Because people believed that they got burnt in the fire. So therefore they were hiding. And that's when they went to Panchal Desh and went to Drupada's kingdom and attended ceremony of Draupadi's marriage. But they were dressed as Brahmanas, not Kshatriyas. So then Arjuna, he fulfilled the condition of shooting arrow by looking into the image of the revolving fish. And then they came, and Kunti, they said, oh, today we got a nice gift in the bhiksha, because they used to go and bag food. So she said, divide among yourselves. So when she came out, she was surprised that this was a girl. It was not some fruit or some sweet or something. So then what to do, because she said it, her word cannot go wrong. So they said, all of you should get married to her. So this is the story. Some people have explanation for this, that actually Kunti was very smart. First of all, Arjuna could not be married before Yudhishthira and Bhima get married. We already read that. Otherwise there will be defect of parivetta. And secondly, she thought that Draupadi is so beautiful, if one of them gets married, then other four will say, what is this? So they may become jealous. So this was her plan, so that they are not jealous with each other and they remain united. So all five got married. Of course, Drupada, he was not ready to do that. He says, how can I marry my daughter to five? This is never done. There is no historical example. So at that time Vyasa came there and he showed that these five were five Indras from their past life, and Draupadi did austerities to get husband. And when Shiva appeared, she said, give me husband, give me husband, give me husband, give me husband, give me husband. 5 times. So Shiva said, Tathastu. So he says, now she is getting 5 husbands. So he actually showed them like a reel from the past. Mahabharata is very interesting story. So that's how they got married. So each one of them produced one son from Draupadi. So 5 Pandavas had 5 sons from her. And these are the 5 sons which were killed by Ashwatthama when they were sleeping at night. He thought that they are the 5 Pandavas. But Krishna has removed the Pandavas and took them away. So at night it was dark and he did not have a torchlight. So he went into the camps and he killed them while they were sleeping. He was so angry, he thought, today I am going to take revenge from these Pandavas. So he cut the 5 heads and then brought them to Duryodhana as a gift. What a gift. So even Duryodhana was not pleased. He said, what did you do? You killed these 5 children, and now who will continue the dynasty? So these 5 sons are described here. So Sukdev is saying that Draupadyam panchveh putra te pitro bhavan. So they are your 5 uncles, because Abhimanyu was also son of Arjuna. So these 5 sons of Draupadi are Parikshit's uncle, right? Chacha और ताऊ ताऊ होंगे ना
आपके इधर ताऊ
इधर तुम्हारे यहाँ नहीं है ताऊ
चाचा
दोनों को ही छोटे बड़े को
बड़े बड़े पापा को
हमारे यहाँ बड़े को ताऊ छोटे को चाचा और संस्कृत में पितर ही बोलते हैं पापा ही बोलते हैं
बड़े को बड़े पिता छोटे
So these are the names which are here. Yudhishthirath, Prativindhya, Shrutaseno Vikodarat, Arjunat Shrutkirtistu, Shatanikastu Nakulihi. So from Yudhishthira was born Prativindhya, and Vrikodara, that is Bhima, was born Shrutasena. From Arjuna was Shrutakirti, and from Nakul was Shatanika. And Sahadeva Suto Rajan Kshutakarma Tathapare. And the son of Sahadeva from Draupadi was known as Shutakarma. And then besides Draupadi, 5 of them, they also had each individual wives separate. Because Draupadi was common and they will take turns. Like you have the Radharaman temple, Goswamis, they have their turn. Who is worshipping for a period, then the next Goswami, then another Goswami Parivar. So therefore they also had 5 their own queens. Yudhishthira tu Pauravyam, Devakot Ghatot Kachaha, Bhimshenad Hidambayam, Kalyam Sarvgatastata. So from Yudhishthira was born Devaka from his queen known as Pauravi. And Bhima, he produced Ghatotkach from Hidimba, and from Kali was born a son called Sarvagata. And Sahadevat Suhotram tu Vijaya Suta Parvati. And Sahadev had a son named Suhotra from his queen named Vijaya, also called Parvati. Karenu Matyam Nakulo Niramitram Tatharju. And Nakula had a son called Niramitra from his wife Karenu Mati. Arjuna hai Iravantam Ulupyam Vai Sutayam Babhruvahanam Manipura Pate Sopi Tatputra Putrika Sutta. And Arjuna, he had a son called Iravan from Ulupi. And he had another son called Babhruvahan from the daughter of king of Manipur. But this Babhruvahan, although he was Arjuna's son, he was taken by his maternal grandfather. So this is called Putrika Dharma, that when father does not have any son, then he marries his daughter to somebody with the condition that a son who will be born to her will become my son. You have to give it to me. So Babruvahan therefore remained in Manipur. And he is the one who fought with Arjuna and killed him. When Yudhishthira was doing Rajasuya Yagya and Arjuna went after the horse, so the horse reached Manipur. So Babruvahan came with gift and everything. So Arjuna said, "What is this? You are a son of Kshatriya, you are just coming like this. Give me a fight." So Babruvahan was also Arjuna's son. He says, "Okay." So he fought and he killed Arjuna. So this is the Babruvahan. तब तातः सुभद्रायाम अभिमन्यु रजायते. And then he is saying to Parikshit that your father was Abhimanyu and he was the son of Subhadra, right? Arjuna had a wife, also Krishna's sister Subhadra. Arjuna had 3 wives, Ulupi, and then this wife from Manipur, what was her name? I think Chitrangada, if I am not wrong. It's not stated here. Yeah, her name was Chitrangada, Babruvahan's mother. And then Subhadra. So all these 3 happened when he was on his 12-year exile. Arjuna had to remain in exile for extra 12 years besides the 12 when they all 5 were there. So at that time he got these 3 wives. And Sarvati Rath Jid Veera Uttarayam Tato Bhavan. And Abhimanyu, he married Uttara. Uttara is the king of Virata. Viratanya also he is called. So Arjuna used to teach Uttara singing and dancing. He was music teacher and dance teacher because he was living incognito as Brihannala. So when their period was over, then Virata wanted to marry Uttara to Arjuna. So Arjuna said, "No, I will not marry because I am her teacher. So you marry her to my son, Abhimanyu." So that's how Uttara got married to Abhimanyu. And Parikshine Sukurushu Droner Brahma Astra Tejasa Tvam Cha Krishnanubhavena Sajiva Mochito Antakat. And then he describes that how you were protected by Krishna because you were killed by the Brahmastra of son of Dronacharya, Ashwathama. And at that time the dynasty of Kurus was almost extinct because everybody died in Mahabharata war, including Abhimanyu. And then these 5 sons were remaining, they were killed by Ashwathama. So nobody remained except the 5 Pandavas. Everyone died. So and then Parikshit was in the womb of Uttara, and Ashwathama knew that. So he wanted to destroy that also. So this is big problem because then they will have no one to continue. And in Varnashrama having a son is very important. That's why we see all these problems with sons. All the time you hear he did not have a son and he did tapasya, and he did not have a son and he did tapasya. So getting son was a very important part of Varnashram. So now there was nobody, so then Uttara, she prayed to Krishna and then Krishna protected her. So that's how Parikshit was born. So Tvamcha Krishna Anubhavena Sajivo Mochito Antakat. That by the prowess of Krishna you were revived and thus delivered from the hands of death. Otherwise, he was already burnt by the fire. तवे में तनयास्तात जन्मे जय पूर्वका श्रुतसेनो भीमसेन उग्रसेनश्च वीर्यवान. And he is speaking with Parikshit. So he says, and now up to Parikshit he has described, these were the past kings, Parikshit is the present, and he says, now your sons are sitting here. And he is speaking. So he says, Tava ime tanaya. These are your sons. So he is also describing what he already knows. So these, you have 4 sons, and these are right here, and their names are Janmeja, he is the first one, and Shrutasena, Bhimsena, Ugrasena. 4. Now what he is going to speak now are the future kings. Till now he spoke the past, and Parikshit and the Janmeja, etc., they are the present. And then he gives a list of future till Kali Yuga. Kavshayam Janmejastvam viditva takshakar nidhanam gatam sarpan vai sarpaya gagnau sahoshyati rushanvitaha. So he says that Janmeja, when he will come to know that, or rather he already knew this, but he was reminded later on when he became king that you have not done anything to take revenge for your father's death. So again, revenge is a very important part of human life. So then he did a Sarpa Yagya, or a Yagya to kill the snakes. So in Madhya Pradesh there is a famous place called Nagda. Nagda is, I don't know, but there is also famous, I think, textile company there, Nagda suitings. So Nagda is actually coming from the word Nagdaha, burning of snakes. So that is the place where this yagya was done. If you go to Mumbai by train from Delhi, the Nagda comes at train station. So that's where he did the yagya, Sarpa Yagya. So that all the snakes were coming and falling into the yagya. This Takshaka remained alive because he was friend of Indra. So he went to Indraloka and hid under his Singhasana, his throne. So finally, when so many snakes killed and Parikshit said, where is Takshaka? I don't see him. The real culprit is not killed, and so many other snakes were falling, and so much bad smell of the snakes burning in the fire was coming. So the Brahmana said, well, he is in the Swarga and he is circling around the legs of the throne of Indra. So he says, don't you have any mantra that you get the throne along with the snake? So he said, yeah, we have all types of mantras, we can do that. So they started chanting the mantra, and then Indra's throne was coming along with Takshaka. And that is when this Jaratkaru came and stopped the yagya. So this is very interesting stories about these snakes also in Mahabharata. From the very beginning. This is how Mahabharata actually begins. The story of Mahabharata begins with the story of this snake yagya, Janmeja. Because Mahabharata was recited there in the snake yagya. The first time it was recited there. So he is telling this, that Sarpan Vai Sarpaya Yagagnav Sahoshyati Rushanvita. He will be very angry, and out of anger he will burn the snakes in the snake yagya. So all the snakes, so a lot of snakes got burnt in that. Kavashayam Purodhaya Turam Turagamedhayat Samantat Prithvim Sarvam Jitva Yakshati Chadvaraihi. So he will make Tura, son of Kavashi, as his priest, and he will do in Ashwamedh Yagya, and he will conquer the whole planet Earth and perform this yagya. I think he also did 3. Tasya putra shataniko yagyavalkyatrayim pathan astra jnanam kriya jnanam shaunakat parameshyati. And the son of Janmeja will be Shatanika, and he will study the 3 Vedas from Yagyavalkya. Yagyavalkya, as you know, is a very famous scholar. It's mentioned in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. He is the one who won the debate, and King Janaka once called for a big Olympic of scholars, and he had 1,000 cows, all nicely decked up with golden horns and nice jewelry. And he says, so many scholars came. He says, anyone who thinks that he is the topmost scholar can take these 1,000 cows. So nobody dared to stand up, because there are so many sitting. You stand up, then everybody will pull your leg. So finally Yagyavalkya, he stood up and he called his disciple. He said, Chalo, take the cows. Let's go to our ashram. Make a nice feast. So when he said this, then so many people stood up. He says, how is this? Why you think you can go like this? You have to answer our question. So one by one, many people, including Gargi, asked question. He answered everybody. So that is the Yagyavalkya. So this Shatanik, he studied the Vedas from Yagyavalkya, Trayim Pathan, Astra Jnanam. And Kriya Jnanam, he also studied the art of fighting. Kriya Jnanam, Shaunakat. And Kriya Jnana means the Jnana of Karam Kanda, etc. He got from Shaunaka Rishi. Shaunaka is also known for that. Shaunaka is the one who was doing Yagya in Naimisharanya. So he is also master of Karam Kanda. And ultimately he attained Param, Supreme God, Bhagavan, Parameshyati, or he will attain, because he is talking in the future now. Sahasranikas tatputras tatascha swamedhaja ashima krishnas tasyapi nemi chakrastu tatsuta. And the son of Shatanik is Sahasranika. His son is Aswamedhaja. His son is Asim Krishna, and his son is Nemi Chakra. Then Gajahave Hritay Nadya Kaushambayam Sadhu Vatsyati Uktas Tataschit Rathas Tasmat Kaviratha Sutta. When Nemi Chakra was ruling, they were all in Hastinapur. At that time there was a big flood in Ganga river, and the whole city was washed away, because Hastinapur was on the bank of Ganga, just like Indraprastha is on the bank of Yamuna. So that is being described. This is some historical fact. That's how it got washed away. So Gajaviye Hrite Nadya, river took away the city. Then they moved and established in Kaushambi. Kaushambi came earlier also, right? I think we checked it. Where is it exactly? Didn't we check it before? Came earlier also, it has some other name or Kaushambi.
It is near Prayag, Babaji. We checked it. It's 70-80 kilometers from near Prayag.
Right, yeah.
Along the river there.
Yeah, so that is established by Nemi Chakra. They moved from there. So this is that Kaushambi. So he says they will move to that place, Kaushambi. And Ukta Tatha Chitraratha. The son of Nemi Chakra is Chitraratha. And his son is Tasmat Kaviratha Sutta. His son is Kaviratha. Tasmascha Vrishtiman. His son is Vrishtiman. Tasya Shusheno Atha Mahipati. And his son will be Shushena. Anybody remember this name Shushena from Ramayana? क्यों बिहारी बाबू रामायण तो बहुत देखा होगा तुमने सुषेण नहीं जब उसको शक्ति लग गई लक्ष्मण को मूर्छित हो गया तो हनुमान जी लाए थे ना डॉक्टर को पकड़ के लंका से क्या नाम था उसका सुषेण था ना Sushena was a doctor in Sri Lanka, and when Meghnad and Lakshman were fighting, Lakshman became unconscious. So this was a big thing. So Hanuman went to Lanka and kidnapped the doctor. Doctor's name was Sushena. And he said, yes, he can be revived, we have to get a herb from Himalayas. That's when Hanuman carried the whole piece of mountain, because the Rakshasas confused him. Sanjeevani. So this king's name was also Sushena. And his son's name was Sunitha. Sunitha was also another one. Whose son was Sunitha, son of Mrityu or somebody. Tasya Bhavita Nirchakshur Yat Sukhinala. His son's name was Nirchakshu, and from him came Sukhinala. Pariplava Sutastasmat Medhavi Sunyatmajaya. Son of Sukhinala was Pariplava, and his son was Sunaya, and Sunaya's son was Medhavi. And Nripanjaya Tato Durva Timi Tasmat Janishyati. His son's name will be Nripanjaya, and then his name will be Durva, and Durva's son's name will be Timi. And Timer Brihadratha Tasmat Shatanika Sudasaja Satanika Durdamana Tasyapatyam Bahinara. And the son of Brihadratha will be Shatanika, and from Satanika is Sudasaja, and Sudasaja is Durdamana Tasyapatyam Bahinaram. His son will be Bahinara. And Dandapanir Nimistasya. His son will be Dandapani, and then his name is Nimi. And then comes Kshemaka Bhavita Nripa. Then the Kshemaka is the last king, which is described in this list. So Brahma Kshatrasya Vai Prokto Vansho Devarshi Satkrita. So he says this is the dynasty of King Puru. That's what he was describing, right? So he says that in this some were Brahmana, that's why he says Brahmanas and Kshatriyas both. Remember, in between we saw many became Brahmanas and then Kshatra. So he says this is the dynasty I have described, and this dynasty he says is Devarshi Satkrita. So this Soma Vansha, Soma dynasty, it is honored or respected both by Devas and the Rishis. Devarashi Satkrita. Shemakam prapya rajanam sansthaam prapshati vaikalau So he says that when Kshemaka comes, then this dynasty will come to an end, means then Kali Yuga will be already progressed and there is no more details given after that. Atha Magadha Rajano Bhavitaro Dabadamite. So he says, now I will describe to you the kings who will come in the dynasty of Jarasandha. Magadha Raja. Jarasandha was ruling in Magadha. Where is Magadha? Bihar, right? So Bihar is a famous place in India, many great kings from Bihar. But when Buddha came, he turned the whole place into a Bihar. Bihar means ashram. Buddha Vihar. Bihar is like what we call as ashram. So the whole state was got the name Bihar because of Buddha. Because this was the area where Buddha preached most.
Bihar was the part of the Banga.
No, it was the kingdom of Magad. Bengal is Banga. It will come, Anga Banga Kalinga will come later on. So now the kings from Magad, from Jarasandha. So Jarasandha's son's name was Sahadeva, we already read that. Earlier it was described. Sahadeva took part in Kurukshetra war. Bhavita Sahadevasya Marjariya Chutashrava Tato Ayutayus Tasyapi Nirmitrotha Tatsuta. Sahadev's son's name was Marjari. Marjari's son's name was Shrutashrava. From Shrutashrava came Ayutayu, and from him came Nirmitra. And Sunakshatra was the son of Nirmitra. Sunakshatra Brihatsena. Brihatsena was the son of Sunakshatra, Atha Karmajit, and from him came the son named Karmajit. Tataha Sritanjayad Vipra Suchistasya Bhavishyati. The son of Karmajit was Sritanjaya. Sritanjaya's son's name was Vipra. Vipra's son's name was Suchi. And Kshemoatha Suvrata Tasmad Dharma Sutra Samastata. The son of Suchi was Kshetra. Kshetra's son's name was Suvrata. Suvrata's son's name was Dharmasutra. Dharmasutra's son's name was Shama. And then Dyumatseno Atha Sumatihi Subalo Janitatat. The son of Shama was Dyumatsena. His son's name was Sumati. Sumati's son was Subala. And Sunitha Satyajita tha. Son of Subala is Sunitha. Sunitha's son is Satyajit. Atha Vishwajit. Satyajit's son's name was Vishwajit. And Vishwajit Yad Ripunjaya. The son of Vishwajit is Ripunjaya. Bahardarathascha Bhupala Bhavya Sahasra Vatsaram. So these are the kings who came in the dynasty of Brihadrata, means Jarasandha, before that Brihadrata. And he said that they will rule for 1000 years. So you can calculate from that when it will end. So Sahasra Vatsaram. So for about 1000 years after Jarasandha, which means from the period of Krishna, they continued. So many scholars have tried to figure out the timeline on the basis of this, because now the list of the kings is also given in 12th canto. This is, he only comes up to here, but there are further names given there, and from there they try to calculate, but there is no fixed period, which is difficult, because this 1000 may be more or less. Who knows how much is 1000? 1000 is just like a round figure. That could be actually more. And then there is sometimes confusion about the names. So, on the basis of these names, there is a famous British scholar, I think his name was Pargeter. He wrote a whole book on this, and then others wrote. And then people refute, no, this is wrong, this is like this, because the names are also found in Vishnu Purana and here in Bhagavatam. Then some you can also see in other Puranas, but Vishnu Purana also gives the list. So on the basis of this, they try to make up a timeline, but it's difficult to figure out actually. Yes.
He described the past kings and then the present kings at his time, at the time when Shukadev was speaking, which is around 5,000 plus years. And then a few more kings are mentioned for the future, until the end of Kali Yuga, basically. So I'm just
Not end of Kali Yuga.
or when Kali Yuga progresses so much that the dynasty gets lost. I'm just trying to understand from the present society, there's absolutely no indication that there will be any ruler, like one king who's a world ruler coming in this line. So, I mean, how should this happen? Kings are coming in this line now, in this kind of.
Well, now there are no more kings. Where are the kings now?
Exactly. So there are no more kings, but these kings are still to come.
No, they already came.
Oh, they came.
That's why I'm saying it is only 1,000 years after Krishna left.
So that means that dynasty is already finished.
Yeah, well, he doesn't give any description. That's why I'm saying that in 12th canto there is more list of the names.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to make it about 3,000 years, not 5,000.
Oh.
So they calculate something. Because some of these names which are supposed to be known, like this Chandragupta, there is one name which is historically known. Chandragupta is around the time of Alexander, which is 322 or 3 BC. And then there's a list of kings which is given which before that. So from that they try to build up the timeline. But then I was reading, some people say that the mistake these people have done is that they're mistaking this Chandragupta with another Chandragupta. And therefore it is wrong. Because there is a Gupta dynasty which is historically known. Samudragupta, Chandragupta, these are famous kings around the beginning of what you call Common Era, or a little before that. Then Ashoka was there. So these are historically known. They have proof of their existence. There are edicts, there are Tamarapatras, those brass plates where they give donation, the dates are written. So these kinds of records are found. And then you see some of these names here. So they try to build up with that. But it's not unanimous.
So I'm curious about two things. So first, it was you described how Vyasa came to impregnate Ambalika and
Ambika.
And then also Vidura was also born from him. And you said with a maidservant. So this I find rather unusual because I thought that he came to give continuity to the dynasty. So how is it that he then also impregnated a maidservant?
No, because he was tricked. So what happened that when he came, so this is a process called niyoga. That is the technical name. And it is only for producing child. So the person who does the niyoga, the male, he has to come at night and he has to put oil on his whole body and cannot speak and only has to do the job of impregnation and go. So when he came, and the first was Ambika. So Vyasa, first of all, he is black in color, therefore he is called Krishna Dvapana. He has beard, and so one side you have the queen, and then you have this sage coming from forest, and not, he's not a match for a queen. So when she saw him, she got scared and she closed her eyes. So then Vyasa came, and then Satyavati was like waiting. So says, how was it? How was it? Says, well, he will have a son, but he will be born as blind. And then Ambalika, she did not close the eyes, but she became pale. So that's why Pandu was born. He says, Pandu will be born, okay, but color will be. So then she said, these both are born like this, produce one more, who was very intimate with these two. So that's how the maid servant came, and then Vidura was born, who was intelligent, learned, and not pale or blind or anything, because maid servant was not queen, so she was not delicate like them. So that's how Vidura was born.
Okay, thank you. And I found interesting that I think it was said about Yagyavalkya that he will achieve Param.
No. It is this grandson.
Sure.
He studied from Shaunaka, and this king, whose name was whatever, son of Janmeja, and I think grandson of Janmeja, that he will study from Yagyavalkya and also from Shaunaka, and we will attain supreme destination.
Okay. And I just found it interesting that this was predicted, that he will reach Param. So is it also predicted for people like us?
Who will predict? If you have Sukhdeva, you can ask him. I mean, who is going to predict? You're saying, is it predicted? Predicted by whom?
Okay, or is it, let's not say predicted, but is it predestined just for some personalities or actually for everyone?
Predestined means he could see this, what they are going to do. And it's like some yogis can see past and they can see future. It's not that it is fixed.
Yes.
Now you have your life and you are leading your life, so something is going to happen according to your actions. So what if someone can see that this is how you will make the choice, this is what you will do, and this will be the result? That does not mean that it is predestined. Just because somebody predicts it does not mean that it is predestined. Just that's how you will lead your life.
I see. So it's similar as to when I observe someone, how he acts, that he is practicing music every day, so I can also predict that he will be a great musician.
Yeah, at least something you can predict. Anything else?
Babaji?
Yes.
Babaji Maharaj?
Yes.
You said that these historians or people, they try to date back this and find about 3,000 years of history. And the basis is Tamrapatras of Ashoka dynasty and Gupta dynasty, etc. My question is, like these Tamrapatras, they have Sanskrit language or what language? Like, because if you have some language which is totally alien to you, like say this Mandarin, Chinese, It's totally alien to me. How do I find out about their civilization?
But who is saying that it is Mandarin?
No, I'm taking an example of Mandarin, but what I'm saying is that language Sanskrit?
Yeah, it is Sanskrit, Pali, Ashoka's writings. You know that you must have read it in school. But it is all Pali. So Pali is understood. But they are also in Sanskrit, many writings.
But then Pali is not practiced now.
Yeah, but Pali is known to some people, at least not practiced so what. It's not that Pali people do not understand, scholars can understand. Yeah, some people who still study it like people study Latin. So not people may not be speaking it, but there are people who can understand, and it's not extinct completely. Okay, anything else? You had some?
Well, I was following up with the previous question about predestination or prediction. So how would we classify all of this statement about the future of Shukadeva, about this elaborate list of kings? Is he seeing that, or is he predicting that, or are we
Yeah, he is predicting. He is seeing it. He is a rishi, so he can see.
And how is there a distinction between a future that's perceivable and a future that's predestined?
So if it is not predestined, right? So the question will be raised, if it is not predestined, how can you see it? Right? So we actually think like this, that we are just free to make our choice. So this idea of free will, you don't find it anywhere in Vedic scriptures. This idea of free will actually comes from Christianity. Because Christianity, first of all, they don't believe in any past life or future life. For them, there is only one life. Right? Yes or no? So then they have this idea of free will. But when you have the idea of karma coming from past life, so how there will be free will, tell me? If you are starting completely blank, then you can say that okay, there is a possibility of free will. But when you are already conditioned, that's why we are already saying we are conditioned being. That is the meaning of baddha. Baddha means bound, bound means conditioned. So we are conditioned by our previous actions. We have our prarabdha karma, we have sanchit karma, we have our kriyaman karma, and karma is the bondage. That is called karma bandhan. So now with that, how will you bring free will into the picture? So that is one thing. Now second thing which is difficult to imagine is that even if you have free will, you are going to do something. Free will does not mean that you will not do anything, right? So like somebody had free will, he took actions and he did this and he did that. And now suppose we do not know, but somebody who can see the past, he can see, well, this is what he did and this is what happened. So with that you will have no problem because this has already happened. Right? But the same thing will also happen in future. It's just a matter that somebody sees it afterwards or somebody sees it beforehand. After all, you have free will and you are going to make choices. And on the basis of those choices, you are going to get the result. So the difficulty comes to us, well, if it is free will, then how can somebody see it? No, once you make the choice, then it becomes fixed. Then the other one is not available to you. And you are going to make the choice. And you are going to make, even if there are 10 possibilities, you are going to choose one out of them. So what if somebody can actually see it? Which one will you choose? It's free for you, but this guy knows already that this is the one you will choose. Is it possible or not? It's difficult to think, but actually it is possible. Why not? Just as you can see the past, that somebody made a choice. And now you are seeing it, well, this is the choice he made and this happened. Like that, somebody can also see the future, that this is the choice one will make.
Can I ask something about this?
Yes.
So, for me, it's easier to conceptualize this along the idea that a person's choices are all conditioned by the mind, the buddhi, the shraddha that they have, which are all functioning according to their samskaras.
Right.
So because of the past actions they've acquired these samskaras will produce predictable outcomes when they act in the future. Then at the same time, we hear about this idea that through spiritual practice, one can actually reform one's samskaras. And this path of awareness about Jushamanashtasan Karman, Dukkhadarkamshtagarhayam, this idea. So
Yeah, but you don't change the environment around you. You can change yourself, what is inside you. But what will happen outside you? Whom are you going to meet? Whom will you marry? Who will become your child? You cannot change that. You don't have the ability to change that. If you go outside, whom you will meet on the road, how will you change that?
Well, I mean, if I understand, then according to the volition that you exercise to shape your samskaras, that will shape the karma that you eventually produce.
Yeah, but that karma is not going to give you result immediately. Prarabdha karma is already your ayu, jatir, bhoga. These are the vipaka. They are already fixed at the time of birth. That is the meaning of prarabdha karma. Nobody can change that. We just feel little satisfied that when you become devotee, then this happened, that happened. Actually, it doesn't change. I mean, you can bring some change in that by your good or bad actions. I agree with that, but it's not such a drastic change. It's just like if you are born in America, you cannot change that now, that you become Indian. You can take Indian citizenship, but you cannot change that your birth was in America to these specific parents and you went to school and college and all that. You cannot change that. So that is all prarabdha karma. You had no choice about it. Where was the choice? Who will be your father? Who will be your mother? Where school you go? What kind of education you have? You didn't even know that you can make a choice. You were born and so many things happened around you without you actually being part of the decision making team. Right?
Well, can I say something to that? Is that we hear that the agency of the jiva is partial, that there's some minimal role that it plays in the actions it performs. So could it be said that ultimately the karma fall that the jiva attains, it also played a proportionate indirect role in that outcome.
Its role is that it is making the body function. Because if there is no jiva, the body cannot function. Like the battery in a car. So the only way you can change your karma is when you utilize your buddhi. And knowledge, how much knowledge you have. And knowledge primarily means knowledge of spirituality. Because material knowledge is what we are going to change with that. We're still in the realm of materialism only. So more knowledge you have of spirituality, more sense control you have, and more intelligence you have. These three things are important for changing karma. Use of buddhi, use of sense control, and knowledge. So now you see how many people have spiritual knowledge, how many people actually have sense control, and how many people are actually using their buddhi. Tell me.
It's a small amount, I believe you're replying.
So that's why it is like.
I guess I'm just... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Bola.
Like on a little follow up on these questions. So basically, something is fixed, but within that fixed thing, maneuverability is only because of these three: intelligence, knowledge, and sense control. That is
बिल्कुल
the only ability you can have within that fixed.
एकदम सही बोला. Yes.
Okay, so now sometimes some example is given, so I just wanted to confirm if that is correct or not. So people say that supposing you were in a corporate and you are destined to visit all around the world, but then you came to Krishna consciousness and you became a devotee. So now you will be a preacher all around the world. So is it correct?
Well, you see, you cannot say all these things unless you really know what was your destiny. What if it was already written like that only? You have to see your chart. What if it was written that, okay, you will be whatever on your all around, and then you will change, and then you do this like that. Just like Buddha, even it was predicted for him that he will leave home, right? That's why his father was trying to contain him. But still he left. It was all, at the time of birth, it was predicted for him. So you may say that he has changed because of bhakti and because of this. It's difficult to say. Unless you really know that this is his prarabdha karma and now he has changed it, therefore he is doing, instead of selling things all over the world, he is preaching all over the world now. Then I can agree, but you have to prove this to me. You have to say that this person's chart show to somebody who doesn't know him, and then he says, yeah, he will be doing this. And then you see that it has changed. So most people think that when you come to spiritual life, you change your karma. I am saying, yes, you change your dress. I agree. But changing inside, very difficult thing. That is a tough job. Because the samskaras are so strong, You immediately act on your samskara. So once you understand what a samskara is, you will not ask me this question. And samskara is the driving force. That is the software driving the hardware. It's like your computer is driven by the software. So now you say, well, the software I will change, try to change. How will you change? Unless you are a programmer. You just use it, whatever is available to you. And you are very much limited. Whichever type of computer you have, that is one limitation, and then what software you have, that is another limitation.
Babaji, I have a question, but samskara can be also good. Not all samskaras are bad.
When did I say that they're all bad?
No, I'm just asking. Because, for example, like I was born in a religious family. Yes, maybe my both parents were a different religion, but that thing to believe and be a religious person is like some samskara. So I can say it's a good samskara.
Yeah, samskaras are both good samskara, bad samskara, and mixed samskara.
Okay.
Third
So
category
it
is
can be
also.
bad and good at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
So buddhi, sense control, knowledge are accepted as means which can possibly gradually reshape or change.
So that's why you see in all these stories, even when they are saying they produce a son, he says he went and he did tapasya, austerity. Why is he doing austerity to produce a child? Sense control. Tapasya means sense control. And for that, buddhi is needed. Right? So, indriyani paranyahu, indriyabhya paramana, mansastu parabuddhi. And Krishna says, buddhya yukta parapartha karma bandham prahasyasi. Buddhya yukta yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. So, Krishna says that only by the utilization of your buddhi, you can be free from karma bandhan. And utilization of buddhi obviously will require knowledge. Because if you simply have buddhi and you don't have knowledge, how will you utilize it? And that would need sense control. So those two are. So Krishna is just using the word buddhi. Buddhya yukta yaya partha karma bandham prahasya. So this is the use of the buddhi. Buddhi buddhimatam asmi. Esa buddhimatam buddhi. Manisha cha manishinam. So that is the use of buddhi so that you can become Buddha, you can become free from this. And buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. Right? So buddhi is the sarathi, buddhi is the chariot driver. Like Krishna is the chariot driver, Arjuna is the passenger. So Atmanam Rathinam Ahu. Atma is the Rathi, Arjuna is the Atma, and Krishna is the driver. So when you have Krishna as the driver, means the buddhi used for Krishna, then you can become free from karma. Chetsa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matpara. So Chetsa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matpara. Chetsa is same as buddhi, awareness. So these days there is a lot of talk about awareness, mindfulness. That is the function of buddhi. Because people don't like to hear about God or soul or this mindfulness, they can hear. So this is the function of buddhi, awareness. Okay.